but I digress for now. So this past week, I've been sent a video quite a few times with Dr. Peter.
What is going on? Brian Carroll here at PowerRackStrength.com HQ. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, share this video, turn on notifications, and comment your thoughts and your opinions below. Am I off the mark? Am I on? Give me your opinion below. Also, my blog is PowerRackStrength.com. You can go there to book an appointment. You can go there and see what I'm about, who I've worked with, some of my testimonials, the different services that I offer in both a virtual and in-person capacity. I'm here at 1302 Eastport Road in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm less than 10 minutes from Jacksonville International Airport, and I work with people all over the world from both a virtual and in-person standpoint. I have people that fly in from all over the country, all over the world to come here for an assessment, for lifting, critiquing, and coaching, for exercise and performance enhancement, for injury resilience. So go check out PowerRackStrength.com for more information about me, Brian Carroll, and thank you for tuning in. So this video is 11 minutes, 43 seconds long. This is a cut of a 2-hour podcast. Like I said, the Nimrod didn't watch the whole podcast in its entirety, as it was talking about Peter Attia, his back pain, Stu's experience working with back pain people, and the most common reasons why people get injured. There's the context. Peter Attia failed back surgery. Is a deadlift the best for him? No. And there's plenty of reasons why. I don't understand why people have taken the straw man and made such a big deal about a nuanced answer. Context matters.
Attia and Dr. McGill talking about, is the benefits of squats and deadlift worth the risk of injury? Now, I'll start off by saying Dr. Peter Attia, I'm a huge fan of. A lot of my fasting stuff, fasting protocols, what I've learned about fasting has been from his podcast. I've read a lot of his article. I've read his book. I'm a big fan, and he's a...
But you didn't watch the entire podcast. You don't like Attia that much, or you didn't watch the entire podcast with McGill. McGill's worked with every major sport in the world, from the X Games to Major League Baseball players to pro athletes in the NHL, MLB, NBA, everything you can think of he's worked with. Dozens and dozens of Olympic champions, world champions, fixed more spines than you can even consider counting. His job is rebuilding lives and fixing back pain. If you don't get that, you're just kind of lost. Amateur hour is over. You say your lifters are back to heavy loads after an injury. Well, again, what is an injury? What is pain? Sounds like you've been setting them up for re-injury. That's not coaching. That's kind of malpractice, in my opinion. But again, did you give them an assessment? Do you understand the cascade of back pain? It typically starts with a little bit of tension, a little bit of tightness, and then comes a little bit of pain. And then once the pain starts to set in, the injury starts. It usually starts with a bit of an end plate being compromised because the load exceeds the tolerance. And then you lose a little bit of stiffness in the disc. Then after a while, you get a bit of mechanical collision as the disc loses height. There is a disc in your back in each level that goes between your vertebra, and it's almost like a shock absorber. And as you lose disc height, when you do dumb shit lifting, and as you get older, you get a mechanical collision there as you've lost the disc height. So you've actually started to fracture the end plate. It's been compromised. Now you start really fracturing and loading bone-on-bone collision, which can lead to a vertebral fracture, the disc being completely smashed up, and then you have bone-on-bone vertebral bodies, and that ends up being a significant injury that a lot of the time ends up a spinal fusion. You don't know what a spinal fusion is, just Google it or put it in ChatGPT or whatever it is you do for your content. Looking for the answer to your sleepless nights, sore muscles, and better overall well-being? If so, PowerRack Strength CBD has you covered. All of our products are made of CBD isolate and have 0% THC, meaning there are no worries of failing a drug test or the worry of feeling high. With PowerRack Strength CBD, we offer a wide range of products and payment options to ensure you have the option that best fits your needs. Don't just take it from me. All of our reviews and client testimonials on our site speak for themselves. You can even get 20% off your order by using code YT1306 at checkout. Go to PowerRackStrengthCBD.com to order now so you can get back to sleeping, recovering, lifting, feeling, and being better. You say your lifters are back to heavy loads in 5 to 7 days after an injury. Dude, what injury are you talking about? A boo-boo on the finger? Or are we talking about a blown out back? You didn't even define back pain. Is it nerve compression? A spondylolisthesis? Do you know what that is? An in-plate fracture? Oh wait, you didn't say because you don't know. And no, your spine won't explode just doing a deadlift, I hope. I've seen it happen. If you skip recovery, overload the spine, ignore biology, yes, you can destroy someone pretty quickly. It only takes one deadlift to cross the tipping point. Many of the times I see it's cumulative overload under recovery, and then bam, bad form, and then pop goes an end plate and a disc. Ignore biology, yes, you can destroy someone. That's why they end up with me or McGill begging and hoping for a second chance to get back to deadlift. Don't make videos about the spine if you never worked with anyone that's injured, rebuilt them, you don't understand biomechanics and injury mechanisms, and you decide just to take out of context a bit about two specific people that have had severe back injuries that have inhibited their life. Some people, it's completely ruined their life. And don't attack them if you haven't understood what he does. This is amateur hour. Don't coach if you don't assess. Why are you coaching people if you don't do a true assessment? You think everyone should lift the same, with the same bar path, the same stance, the same setup, the same program. That's not coaching. That's just flat out ignorance. It's disappointing that someone that has a platform, and you have a good platform, it seems like, is just so in the dark about biology and understanding what it's like to deal with somebody and help someone rebuild their spine and get them out of a dark hole. Because I do it every single day, and further pushing through with deadlifts and loading them is typically ends in disaster. Simply saying that we are pro or con deadlift, it really just depends. If you were the owner of the Eagles and you're paying Jalen Hurts $47 million, do you really want him deadlifting? Is it going to make him a better quarterback? I don't think it is. Now, maybe pulling off the blocks, making a modification, a hex bar or something like that, that can be significantly more helpful. But just saying these things is very problematic. And generalizing and building a straw man to attack McGill when he has forgotten more about lifting and training and how to build resilient athletes, then he's forgotten more about that than you'll ever know in 5 lifetimes. Because he's dedicated his life to it, and he doesn't just blow off at the mouth at things he knows nothing about. He isn't a recreational lifter, a hobbyist like yourself. He's dedicated over 40 years in the training center, the lab, the clinic, studying spine injury mechanisms and reverse engineering to how to prevent them and how to rebuild them. You haven't done that. Again, I can tell you, but I can't understand this for you.
And he's a deadlifter and he's a lifter. Well, kind of. We'll cover that now. Dr. Attia was asking Dr. McGill that very question, and he was saying from his own training, and we should probably play the clip so I don't get it wrong, but basically,
you should play the whole podcast in your ears.
As he's been lifting over time, he now doesn't know if he needs to deadlift all the time, if he needs to deadlift every training session, that as he's gotten stronger, he can now take time off from deadlifts and then come back to it if something's starting to feel off. And he also talks about if you train a whole bunch, you become in tune with yourself and you're able to understand, hey, when you can push in and when you can back down. And he says he goes back and forth on the deadlift, if it's worth it or not, and he pitches the question to Dr. McGill.
When I think about, in particular, squats and deadlifts, I'll tell you where, especially around the deadlift, which is an exercise I really, really enjoy, where I feel conflicted. On the one hand, I feel like...
And you should be conflicted with any major barbell movement that has hurt you in the past, or you've had a serious back injury that's taken you out of work. Keep in mind, being a medical doctor, yes, you make a lot of money, but you have a shitload of tuition that you have to pay off. Some people close to $500,000. And so you can't just afford to get injured when you're working 70 hours a week and, sorry, I can't come in for the next 4 or 5 weeks or 2 months because I have to have a spine surgery. And you'll just have to find another doctor to take care of all of my patients.
Now that I'm so tuned in to how to do this movement correctly, it's a really wonderful audit for my stability system. So on the one hand, I think, yeah, I should be deadlifting my whole life. I don't need to deadlift 400 pounds anymore, but I should be deadlifting because it's this great audit. And on the days that I don't feel it, I back off. And then on the other days, I say, Peter, you don't need to do this anymore, because honestly, you can still get the same or nearly the same activation for all of the muscles involved using other movements. And in other words, deadlifting is valuable, but you have a narrow operating window in which you can potentially hurt yourself.
Now, I have no...
And this is dead on, a narrow operating window with a post-surgical spine. Once you operate on the spine, it has changed forever. It will adapt. It doesn't mean that you'll be able to deadlift or it'll be just as robust as it ever was, but it will adapt. Is the deadlift the best?
Problem really with that analysis, or at least getting someone to think about that. But Dr. McGill's response I liked a lot less. Dr. McGill gives the example of a 50-year-old trainee coming into his clinic and looking for help. And Dr. McGill asks,
looking for help and guidance in his training and to get rid of his back pain. Do you understand the irony of this whole thing? The guy does want a deadlift, but he wants his back pain gone worse.
What are your goals? And the client says, to set a deadlift personal record. And Dr. McGill laughs. How could this be your goal? Let's rethink this. Your goal should be to live long with your family and your kids and be able to do the stuff you want. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is how he got to where he got, or then his defense of that position.
40 years in the lab, clinic, and training center is a good defense for that position as being a back specialist. Someone coming to you for back pain and you giving them good fatherly advice, even if they are about your age. If you're my son, I would suggest you don't deadlift and enjoy your next 20, 30 years, 40 if you're lucky. This is the same conversation that I had with McGill, but I didn't go make a stupid video on it that he didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. We negotiated about it. I got pain-free, and then I decided I wanted to rebuild. I wanted to get another record, and so we worked together on this, but it wasn't just a matter of, oh, I'm going to keep lifting, but I want your help too. No, you get pain-free, then you rebuild capacity, tissue tolerance, depending on what tissues are damaged, then you proceed ahead with a bridge in between. You don't just go right back to deadlifting or squatting 5 to 7 days later. You don't do that. That's a great way to end up seeing myself or Dr. McGill.
It's interesting when we have a back pain 50-year-old coming here and I'll say, what are your goals? Oh, I want to set a personal best in deadlift. And I said, really? Okay. And then I say, how about this for a goal? Do you have kids? Yeah. Do you have grandkids? Yeah. How about this? Would you rather, as your goal, have the ability to play with your grandchildren on the floor when you're 80 and get off the floor and pick them up? And they pause for a minute and they'll say, yeah, I like that goal. I said, well, you can't have both. If you think you're going to continue having deadlift personal bests, you will not. You will have artificial hips, all of these other things.
I say on this channel all the time, I don't really care about competitive powerlifters. I mean, I like you as people. You're always really nice. You're a good time at the Arnold, but that's not who we're here to help.
Dude, your mom. Just kidding, dude. Powerlifters know the squat, the bench, and the deadlift better than anyone in the world. So how dare you? And don't put the word powerlifters in your mouth anymore, because we're not a good time at the Arnold. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not one of us, but we do know the squat, the bench, and the deadlift better than you.
We're here to help the people that do this literally for their longevity. And so I'm with them on that. Yes, of course.
It's weird to think that people max out on the deadlift, like you're showing your lifters with their busted form, maxing out, shaking with their rounded back. That's what you're doing to build longevity for them? Okay, well, that's an interesting approach.
Hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, like, subscribe, share, click the notifications because we drop videos twice a week. We also have a live stream every Friday where I answer your questions. Click below to see the latest video that we uploaded. Also, for our products, our CBD, our books that correspond with these videos, it's down in the description. For more information about all things Brian Carroll and Power Rack Strength, go to powerrackstrength.com. You can book a consult both virtually and in person with me. Enjoy your week, and thank you so much.